Hello and welcome to the Green Machine. We're live, we're back, and we're even more sexy than usual because we don't have Nick on with us. Martin,
Yeah,
it's been a while. Good, 3 weeks, is it?
it's been a few weeks. Yeah. Lots happened. A lot has happened. So
A lot.
the world's gone a bit mad.
Has it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
a bit of a strange one. No football this weekend, but we've got plenty to talk about. We've got the Irish squad we're going to chat about, which gets announced this Thursday, I believe.
Thursday. Yep, that's right. Under 21 squad announced, and also the senior men's team. Yep, squad.
Super. So we have plenty to discuss. So we're going to go into it. We're going to have a little look. Well, actually, first of all, we just want to plug shit, and there you are. Well, we're not saying sorry, they're not shit. I'm just saying we plug our shit, shall we say? But sorry, Kit Launch Cork. So Kit Launch Cork, that's www.kitlaunchcork.com, and if you want 20% off, give those guys a shout. Promo code all caps Green Machine 20. That is Green Machine 20. Yeah, so give them a shout anyway. I suppose there's only really one place to start. We'll do the whole boys in green graphic. We're a bit out of practice, folks. We do apologise. There you are. Look at that. Probably one of those won't be in the squad going forward. So there you have it. The squad gets announced on Thursday. Obviously, I think the goalkeepers, looking at it, obviously Mark Travers, ever since Scott Parker, who came out and said, after the 9-0, I've no money. What can I do? And the club went, you're fired. Mark Travers obviously dropped. That lad just can't catch a break no matter what he does, can he?
Yeah, he kind of bore the brunt, didn't he, for their kind of woeful start under Scott Parker. And look, I think Nick actually made the point, which was very well made, to be honest, that people said that's really harsh, 9-0. How can you blame the goalkeeper? He was at fault for a few of them. He could have probably done a bit better, but we were talking earlier in the season when we in our season preview that we thought that Bazunu would get a lot of kind of action when he was playing in Gulf Southampton. The caliber of clubs they're playing for, they're going to be tested.
Yeah.
And Travers has found that basically with Bournemouth. And yeah, shame for him. I'm hoping that, they'll appoint a new manager and he'll get back in there again because he's undoubtedly quality goalkeeper. And it'll be interesting to see, he might need this little bit of break now coming into the senior squad.
100%.
So, he gets on from there.
Absolutely. So, that's kind of the goal. It'll be Bazunu, obviously, starting Premier League goalkeeper, Caoimhín Gallagher. Actually, Gallagher is still out, isn't he? Is he still injured?
I think he's still out. And, it wasn't great, was it? How Liverpool, typical Liverpool. No, how Liverpool obviously slagged off Irish. Liverpool started to take on the Everton role from Merseyside. They used to fight with the Irish senior management team for a long time, and now we don't have that. We have Liverpool.
Maybe they had
the greatest football club ever.
Yes, you are correct.
One title, and how many?
19, but okay.
One in the Premier League. But anyway,
but it's not just the Premier League, though.
No, I know it's not, and they still haven't. They're still not the top. So, is that what you want to say? Who is the top again? Okay, I digress.
Don't Liverpool have more trophies?
Don't worry about that.
Yeah, twice the amount of European Cups.
But
how many years was Fergie in charge? He only got 2 European Cups.
Yeah, that's fine. We should have had more, to be fair. But then the foreigner rule.
Foreigner rule, is that it? Yeah.
Problems.
How many pays did he get?
Teams.
Pays he got 3, didn't he?
Jesus. Yeah.
You brought it up.
Anyway, I was just saying the fact, and it's a fact. One of Rafa's facts could be again. Jesus, it's gone Man United, Liverpool. But anyway, yeah.
Kelleher, I'm not sure over the weekend.
Is he? Yeah, exactly. Kelleher, will he be there or not? I suppose I'd like to see him be called up. I think what they'll do actually with the squad is call up a few of these players anyway who have been in the squad to assess them and make sure they're part of it. I think that would be very clever of Kenny to do that if he does, because I know in the previous podcast when I was talking about the Chris GM where Stephen Kenny done a Q&A and he said that it was unprecedented that they called up a 27-man squad last time, no pullouts. So people, who are, but people, the players, the lads are all really buying into it, and they all want to attend camps and be part of it. So I'm all positive for that, and I think that's why he will he won't make lots and lots of changes, I don't think, with the squad. I think he'll be quite loyal now. He thinks he's quite settled. He'll bring people in, and I look at them, and I think this time with injuries and stuff, you may get a few people do actually pull out the squads.
So, right, that's the goalkeeper side of it. Let's look at the defence now. I wrote an article. By the way, I have 2 articles in the upcoming match day program for Machíne. Just putting that out there. You now have hopefully a regular spot anyway.
Right. Congratulations, well done.
Thank you very much. Pat in the back there. Yeah, I actually have 2 articles coming up. One about the Scotland game and one about the a week back in the day. I won't spoil it, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. But anyway, after a cheap plug, there. I also wrote another article for the Risk London, which we're actually all members of, including Nick. He's joined the dark side. And one of the things I wrote in that was about Seamus Coleman. So basically, in my opinion, I cannot see how Seamus Coleman can possibly be included in the Ireland squad. He has played not 1 minute of top flight football, unless you count a 90-minute appearance against Fleetwood in the EFL Cup. I mean, surely now it's time for Seamus to pass on the baton. Maybe bring him on, perhaps in the John Eustace role that they're looking to fill or not fill. Because Kenny's been I think Kenny's had enough actually of this assistant man, because they keep letting him down. Maybe get someone like Seamus come on board, because you can't justify that, Martin. He's 34. We love him. He's the captain, but he's played very little football.
That's the thing, yeah. I mean, it's interesting you bringing that point in about what role has he got in the squad, and again I'll give myself a plug now at the Crisk AGM Q&A. I asked the question of Stephen Kenny: was he going to bring in anyone coaching as an assistant? As he's lost Eustace and Barry, Duffer, Alan Kelly. So there's a whole list of them. That's a great quiz question in years to come. But and he said, not kind of diluting the actual role or whatever, but this person is coming in as another coach, really, as another voice, not actually usually important. All right, Barry did have that importance with the set pieces and things. They've actually got some other kind of coaches coming in now, even focusing on throw-ons and things like that. The amount of turnovers they were saying. That we lose the ball from our own throws. So that's the kind of technical analysis he's putting in. But it'd be quite interesting if Seamus Coleman is kind of going down the route of his, badges, coaching qualifications, whether he is going to be kind of seen as that role now as a kind of senior kind of leader off the pitch, which could be very, very possible, I think.
I think it's the right way. I mean, I also asked the question, who would replace him? And you would say Matt Doherty, but I think Matt Doherty's played like 8 minutes of football. He did come on for the last 4 minutes of the Champions League. I think he became like the 26th Irish player to play in the Champions League. He's had his own issues, but what I would say, obviously, Spurs will have a congested fixture list, so you'd imagine that he'll come in. Another issue, I think, as well, is Shane Duffy. So 30 years of age. And he has played an outstanding 2 minutes of top flight football. That is last minute in the 2-2 draw with Fulham. And he's played 1 minute in the 3-2 win over Brentford. So between himself and Seamus Coleman, they have 2 minutes of top flight football between them. And I don't think that was going to change over the weekend. Now, with Duffy, we've got, obviously, the Coleman issue is a bit hard. It's a bit worse, actually. I probably jumped ahead of myself here a little bit, because we probably should have spoken about some of the options right back. But I think it will be obviously not Doherty. But I think Duffy's in trouble there, isn't he? Because I mean, you got this fella here. Nathan Collins. He's sparkling. Amabamidele, he's back now at Norwich. He's pissing it.
Egan's playing. Darragh O'Shea's now the captain of West Brom.
Yeah,
they're absolutely flying it, and you're not even talking about Lenihan then, who's always been a periphery and got the move to Middlesbrough. And Duffy's not playing at all. So
no, I think Duffy's a liability. I think he's an accident waiting to happen. Actually, in fact, it almost did happen, didn't it? Against Scotland a couple of times, he lost possession at the back, and when he got suspended for the game in Łódź against the Ukraine. And he, people said, "Oh, we're going to miss his last ditch challenge, his last ditch blocks." But I was like, well, actually, if you got three lads that are more comfortable on the ball,
I don't want to be missing that from any of our teams. The fact that someone does a last minute tackle is you're under pressure and your desperation stakes. That's all he's bringing to the team. I want a composed centre back who's bringing the ball out like Nathan Collins.
Exactly. So you're actually. You're negating the need for last minute tackles, because he was losing the ball because he's not playing football, and I think it's actually a shame, really, isn't it? Because with I love Duffy and I love Coleman, like they're two very nice guys and they're very popular in the dressing room. They are leaders, but at the end of the day, look at Collins, Lenihan, and O'Shea, how comfortable they were. There was no need for that. Look at the goal Collins got.
Yeah. I mean, they're playing regularly. That's the thing. They're week in, week out for their teams. They're natural leaders now playing. Omar Babadeli, obviously, in Norwich. We weren't too bothered about them going down because we thought he's going to play a lot. So
more games.
That's been absolutely brilliant for us. We're very comfortable there. And I think he said himself, Stephen Kenny, he's going to have to leave one of these names out. I can't see it being any of those ones. And it probably is going to be Shane Duffy, perhaps. But how he manages that is going to be a bit...
He was very loyal with Duffy, wasn't he?
Loyal and the old guard. And then can you afford to leave out one of the kind of younger up-and-coming ones you're going to rely on in future? I think it will be like, if he's going to have like 5 or 6 centre-backs in that squad, I wouldn't expect Lenihan to get in there. Even you think of like Sir Jimmy Dunn and things like that, other people who can play in that central role as well. So, he's gonna leave a few out though. He's definitely gonna, but we're just blessed, luckily, in that position.
Just Graham Farrell. By the way, keep your comments if you're still awake. Graham Farrell, I think the good thing for Duffy is Potter going to Chelsea might help him get back in the team. Granted, he's very rash at times. Collins is a class act, so is Lenihan and O'Shea, because they suit the way Kenny wants to play. Couldn't believe Blackburn let Lenihan go. Yeah, that's right. At Middlesbrough now. Yeah, I agree there. I think, and I don't say this with disrespect, I think it'd be very difficult if he does. He did once say about Shane Duffy when Duffy was having a terrible time at Celtic, and he was having an awful time off the pitch as well. And he was really bad for Ireland. Game against England, for example, bread and butter stuff, from corners. And he said he doesn't know Ireland anything, so he's fiercely loyal, and I understand that. But I think you need. I think I'd love to, if he does include him, I'd love to hear his explanation, because
I think as well that he conscious of, like, I know this one's a 2-game campaign, 2-camp, I suppose. And if you're not playing regularly though, you can't cope with 2 to 3 games. And we could be possibly, we'll know in October what the draw is for the qualifiers. We could be getting, if we're in a bigger group, we will have 3-game windows, and those lads aren't going to be able to cope unless they're playing week in, week out with their clubs. And the fact of it is, they're not sharp enough at the moment. You see that in the games, don't we? We see it quite often. Anyone who doesn't play, and they get to about 60, 70 minutes, they flag a little bit, or they just completely flop in the next game.
And that's actually, we've been bitten a few times with that, in fact.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I think he's really struggled with, Kenny, when Irish players aren't playing regularly. They have one great performance and then completely flop in the next game. Moving on to the midfield. I mean, this fella here, Daniel McDonnell has, wrote an article saying that he has now returned. He has now become once again, a fully functioning professional footballer. He's played, I think, 8 out of their 10 games.
You're talking about Robbie Brady here for the non-visual.
Sorry,
like you said, it sounded like it was Dan McDonnell, and I was thinking, Jesus, we're struggling, are we?
Yeah, sorry, Robbie Brady here. I keep forgetting this is going to be an audio podcast. But yeah, he's done very well, and I'm sure Nick will be fucking lapping it up. Won't let me hear the end of it. But yeah, he's done really well, Robbie Brady. I mean, it's good for us here because he gives us something that no one else gives us, really, doesn't he? He is a quality player. He's still only 30. He's 31 in January. He's played. The only time he hasn't played were in the 2 League Cup games against Huddersfield and Wolves. and for obvious reasons he was drafted. But he's played every other game, and he's played 90 minutes, bar two, where he's played 71 to 78. Everything else is 90 minutes. Here's the thing, though. And it's the worry I have. Will his club want him traveling with Ireland? Because he got injured the last time in Irish duty as well, didn't he?
Yeah. I think though his age and his kind of all right. I know he's only 30, but he's very experienced pro, and he's so important for Ireland. I think surely he's going to be saying to them that I go and I play for my club, country, basically. So you would respect someone like that. He's never caused any bother off the field. I don't think he's not like a wild chap, is he? So I think I'd give him the benefit that you're going to manage it correctly. He's perhaps might play in one of the games. Again, it's all about the load on him. But yeah, I love Robbie Brady. I think he's fantastic, and we really have missed him in some games where we need the player to unlock it. And I like the fact he can play anywhere. I think he's just technically so good.
I mean,
and it's a shame that his kind of career stalled a little bit for those years with the injuries. But fair play to him. He's come back, and long may that continue, to be honest.
He has, but if Klopp's right about the Irish physio. no, I'm joking. But I mean, as well as set piece, Robbie Brady, he's probably our only really good set piece player. Obviously, Hourhan is playing for Derby in League One. I mean, really, are you going to get him in front? Should he be anywhere in our team now? Hourhan, his league, he's 31.
Yeah,
I think it's over.
I think it's on him, and we can't be counting on him. And there's just going to be better players, I think, hopefully, than him coming through.
Hopefully, and of course, speaking of players we can't count on, this fella, Callum O'Dowda, for our listeners at home. Was he injured in the last game?
He was injured for Cardiff recently. Yeah, I mean he's missed the last couple for them, but in brilliant form. And I think if he's anyway fit and he plays this weekend, or he's even in the squad, I think Stephen Kenny will call him up. I think again just to kind of have him part of the squad. Have a look at him and speak to him fitness wise and stuff. And I'm hopeful that he'll get in the squad, because I think he's had a really good start to the season. Kind of kickstart.
One goal and 2 assists. 1 goal and 2 assists.
Yeah, which is really good form for him, to be honest. He just can't get this consistent run of games. Started off very well. He's had a pre-season. I'm hopeful with him. And yeah, I think he. I even look back and think of when he was first in the early squads. I think of his Ireland career, basically. Martin O'Neill trusted him an awful lot. Mick didn't have him at all. Left him out of match day squads when he was fit and stuff. Just found him quite quiet, I think. And, but whereas he was actually trusted a lot from Martin O'Neill and stuff, played in some big games, played in that kind of role. But actually, I can kind of see Robbie Brady doing the kind of in behind the forward and just getting the ball in a half turn and running at someone and trying to be creative and getting free kicks. He's very clever like that. He does a lot of that. But he's got to stay fit. And he's under pressure now from the likes of Ogbene as well. Even Callum Robinson, those kind of players. I mean, the only good thing for him, I would say, he can adapt and go into kind of left wing back as well. He's played there a little bit, but he's very versatile. And I think he would be Kenny when he first had him in the squad. He would have started him, and even some of them games, some lockdown games where we had the close contacts and stuff. He was all due to start in Wales, the away game behind closed doors. And he was a close contact. So it's kind of stop-start for him with his Ireland career, which I feel quite sorry for him in a way. That's the way of it. So I'd like to see him in the squad and see if he's part of it, because otherwise I think there's a chance he's going to just drift away out of international football.
What did you make of Michael Obafemi? He didn't play in the last game. They said he wasn't mentally prepared to play for Swansea. Now, I thought there was maybe some off-the-field issues. Well, there kind of was, but, you thought maybe some behavioural issues, but by the sounds of it, turns out is Burnley actually, this went under the radar, but Burnley came in apparently with an offer, and he really wanted to go. And I think he threw his toys out of the pram a little bit with it, and I think that's what happened. So he got.
Yeah, that's my understanding of it, and it's kind of disappointing to hear that. I hope it's just not going to his head too much. I know, fantastic goal, but. He has to have a season of scoring goals, basically. That's what he has to do at Swansea. He's got to score lots of goals there and be in competition with top goal scorers, to have a presence in the Ireland team, starting berth all the time for us. He now is obviously going to be competing again with Callum Robinson. So, they've got to be scoring goals at that level. We were speaking on the podcast last week, I think, how competitive the Championship is. It's not an easy league to play in by any means. And if you score 10 goals there, that's very, very good. Because I always used to go on about Mitrovic, thinking he's not really good enough for the Premier League, but he's too good for the Championship. He'd be like perfect in between if there was one. But he's kind of proven me wrong as well. He's a player who's massively improved Mitrovic. And I know we talk about our own players, but I think we've gone down.
Does he play for Ireland?
No, I'm just saying. Well, he has played, and he gave a bit of a schooling to Nick's friend Kieran Clark. Basically ended his international career.
Not hard
in that game, but so yeah, I think the Championship is very competitive. If you're scoring 10 goals there, you're obviously a very good player. Obafemi, to push for that move into uncertainty with Burnley as well. That was what he was trying to probably look to do. It's a relatively new setup there with Vincent Kompany as the manager. He was in a settled squad, or he's in a settled squad there. So Swansea, I just want to see how he kicks on there, really.
Absolutely. And of course, we'll have our reaction podcast after it is announced. Will Nick and Martin's dreams be crushed and Colin Dowda and Robbie Brady left out?
Yeah. And wait, it reminds me of the Joxer song. You'll probably want John Aldridge back.
Do you know what I did actually?
You know what I would.
Do you know what, actually, during lockdown, I was playing Championship Manager 98, right? My mate had it and he gave it to us. I was playing for the crack. I actually brought John Aldridge out of retirement, international retirement, at the age of 40, and brought him back to Liverpool. And he scored as well. Yeah, I got fired after that.
Yeah.
They're not connected, I swear. But we will have a reaction episode, obviously. And of course, we will be broadcasting live from Dublin and Scotland, by the way, which I'm really excited about when we're doing the stream. That reminds me, they don't sort you out with an ISDN line in Hampden Park. You have to actually contact them directly to do it.
Okay.
Hopefully don't forget. So be live from Scotland. I cannot wait for it. Just go through some of the comments here actually before we move on. Graham Farrell, story boys, what's the crack? Let's hope the 21s do the bizzo as well as the women. Absolutely. And yes, going on to Martin's bollocks argument, the foreigner rule. Just get over
the fact. It's a fact that is. We're going to have to do a historic Premier League and early Champions League. Or European Cup it was then. We'll have to do a pod on that because that was a fact of that. The foreigner rule really impacted on Irish players. Like we had Dennis Irwin and Roy Keane were in that squad, and they couldn't always play.
Two players. Okay.
Yeah, but I'm saying the Welsh lads were counted as well. The Welsh lads like Giggs, Mark Hughes. You think of that team? I
always remember Les Seeley playing in the new camp and Peter Schmeichel.
No, Gary Walsh.
Sorry, Gary Walsh, and then Peter Schmeichel just sitting in there. With
Cantona in the stand, watching it. Can you believe it?
Yeah, that annoyed me because I like competition. Genuinely, that did annoy me. I like competition. I was thinking, you're not seeing the real team, and it was,
that.
And he still got stuffed.
That Man United 94 team is one of the best Man United teams I've ever seen. I'm just saying, it really was. Seriously,
listen to it.
Seriously
now. Seriously, guys.
I'll tell you, I'll argue that on anyone.
Well, we'll do a podcast, and you certainly will. Peter Stevenson with a lovely picture of Ganesh up the Irish. Good man. Absolutely. Graham Farr, believe Bristol City fans were gutted he crossed the Severn Bridge. Like him, he's a version of Wes if he could stay fit, in my opinion. I bet you the Cardiff fans weren't too pleased either. Declan Finnegan, Dex watching again. Worrying what's going on. Michael Fenley Swansea. Yeah, we just covered that in there. Hopefully, he just needs to calm it down a little bit. Graham Farrell, that's what broke up the team that we had in the 90s. Suey was hampered with that as well. To be fair, yes, he was when we were losing to Genoa in the Cup Winners' Cup. Christ, those were dark times. Right, let's move it on to a little bit of social media watch. Right, Jesus, where do we start with this? There's a little event on over the weekend. Yeah, don't know.
Well, we're in we're recording this from London, and it's absolutely nuts, isn't it? The coverage of the passing of Elizabeth II.
Yeah, better the sequel of Queen Elizabeth I, who died in Balmoral, which over here, as Martin says, has been a bit weird. Just strange, just soaking all up the history. You know, I love history. You know, I'm always doing stuff with Irish football history, but also I love history in general. Wars, as you can imagine. And I just find the whole thing fascinating. This is history.
Yeah.
But
and we're in the midst of it at the moment. I'm like you. We're in the midst of it at the moment, and it is just shows you how absolutely nuts some people are. But that's fine. They're all grieving in some way, and I think it's actually really fascinating. You know, all the social media stuff on this. I think some of it's really, really funny.
I
know we'll probably come on and talk about the reaction. The Irish Twitter got a hammering, didn't they? Basically, and I don't agree with a lot of that. I don't really agree with all that kind of over the top militant stuff anyway. But yeah, some of it's very, very funny.
Well, let's have a look here anyway at one of them. So Trevor Sinclair, right? We'll start with Trevor Sinclair. So of course he's now Irish. All of a sudden, played for England several times, done for assault, all this kind of stuff. Not particularly nice chap. Has had his issues. So he tweets this. Trevor Sinclair the other day: racism was outlawed in England in the 60s and it's been allowed to thrive. So why should black and brown mourn #the Queen? Now, of course, that's caused major problems for him, and Talk Sport got onto him and they're trying to contact him. So, you can't be doing this. Now, to be fair, you do have freedom of speech. Well, allegedly. So he can't say what he wants. So I don't know why he was suspended by TalkSport over that. I don't know why exactly. Do I think his comments were a bit, unwise? Absolutely. Like, what you expect is going to happen. But, to be fair, man, he should be able to say what he wants. I'm not saying I agree with what he's saying.
Yeah, but he obviously is entitled to say what he wants, but it's a bit stupid when he's in the media and he's giving that opinion basically in the midst of all this. He should surely know he's going to get backlash. So that was a bit ridiculous.
And here's the thing as well, right? So, and Kevin Kilbane came in and defended him the whole lot, but just 2 years prior, he tweeted this: our Queen looked so fragile when addressing the nation earlier, but was so genuine with humility. Her Majesty still inspired. #United Kingdom.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen a lot of people. What's funny when you have a big occasion like what's happened now, or a big event, and people don't know how to kind of articulate their kind of feelings and emotions and stuff, they kind of tweet reactively and just come out with rubbish like that, and they actually forget that a couple of years ago, someone will find it. Someone will look up your past.
They'll always find it,
and that's what it is. That's it. I've seen another one of, I think it's a guy who does GM News, which is very inflammatory over here. And he's got a video of going to leave flowers outside the gate, and someone's obviously videoed him doing it. But he's there saying, "I wanted to go and have privately reflect," and everyone went, "What?" So you had someone video you with this kind of reflective moment, and then you see 2 years ago he tweeted and he was giving stick to someone for doing this very same thing he's just done now. So people forget. I think it's just, this is quite raw over here in England, all this kind of nonsense that's going on, and people just can't convey their emotions. And all I would say though is, like, from the Irish perspective, we had a lot of obviously historical links with obviously England and the monarch and stuff like that. I think I found some of it quite tasteful, the way they've done it, quite respectful. Some of it's ridiculous. I think the Shamrock Rovers fans singing isn't needed.
Yeah.
And again, even then, the media just latched on to that. It hasn't reflected very well on Irish League of Ireland football. The fact that that's been blown up out of all proportion, as if it's the whole League of Ireland fans singing those kind of songs. So it's there's a time and place for kind of some stuff. I'd hate to use the word kind of banter. I don't really see it as that, but because you kind of see the human side of it all. But some of the coverage obviously is over the top, and the history, the link between Ireland and England is obviously complex. So people just can't really communicate that. You've got to remember, a lot of people on social media are fucking idiots, and
What
They
are you
just
trying to
don't know how to
say?
communicate. Sorry, Dave. No, but they just don't know what to do. You know, and they just don't
Oh,
really think of everything they post. And I'll be guilty of that as well sometimes, of course. But you know, I think you have to have a little bit of balance sometimes.
yeah. I mean,
And yeah,
Declan's gone here as well. Between Travis Sinclair's tweets you just mentioned, we've had the whole BLM issue, Black Lives Matter as well. Yeah, I'm not going to fucking mention that, Declan. Don't want to get cancelled. I don't want to get cancelled if we mention
I
that.
mean, I've seen the Kevin Kilban kind of coming out, and then he's getting grief because he's communicated something, and you know, probably really trying to educate people that you know there is a historical link between England and Ireland, and it doesn't reflect very well on England over the years. We know that if you know your history, and if you know your history of wars and stuff, which I'm sure you do, David. But you know, everyone's then calling out Caban. Well, you're not Irish, you're not this, and so then he's posting up like DNA stuff. It just gets a bit silly, and you know, I don't think you have to kind of justify
I
the
think
abuse in those regards.
a lot of the time, just say nothing. Trevor Sinclair, just why did he have to say anything? Just say nothing. You know, I mean, Paddy Kenny, here he is. A hotel in Portugal with flag half down as respect to our Queen. Yet again, why
got absolutely hammered, didn't he? I don't. Yeah, see, I kind of didn't. He got massively called out on that by, oh, aren't you Irish and aren't you this? And obviously, you just used Ireland for that. Look, we've got to remember as well, and I've spoken quite a lot about this in the past. You know, a lot of our players who play for Ireland, who perhaps were born in England, or they're married to wives and got kids in English schools and stuff, growing up very much English, but with the Irish links. That's the kind of situation with it. So they are going to be respectful, I think, of things when they happen in England. That's just the fact of it. I mean, it doesn't make him any less Irish, the fact he's done that. I think it's a little bit naive of him to do that. And
yeah,
he's going to get called out by some people because they're not going to, aren't you Irish, Paddy?
I mean,
well, he will, I'm sure he's got abuse for being Irish in the past as well, Paddy Kenny. And that might have been off his own manager.
Well, yes, I think Stan gave him a bit of abuse there. But I mean, why say anything? Like, why do you have, like, why is what people, excuse me, that have to give an opinion on something? I mean, the Trevor Sinclair thing, this, like, just say nothing. You're going to get hammered unless he is hammered when posting it, which, judging by some of his posts,
some people do this post stuff though, just to kind of be inflammatory and get a reaction and keep the profile going and stuff. So I do understand. I kind of understand that. I mean, the key thing with this is of how we're expected to kind of mourn this event in a way, or what everyone, you know, the grief junkies are all out for, aren't they? But you know, it does bring it back. I read a fantastic article recently, and it was all about how Ireland coped with the situation when Princess Diana died, and how we wore black armbands.
Yep. Your mate did as well, El Roy.
Yes, he did. Andy Townsend was, interestingly, one of the people who was quite pro doing that. I think it was in an away game. I think
it was in Reykjavik. Yeah.
If it had been at home, I think the FAI were going to kind of get it cancelled, like, you know, ask for a postponement.
That's crazy, though. Like,
and that is off someone, you know, who was a member of the royal family. Now, massive tragic event. Mick McCarthy handled it very well, and all the media kind of stuff as well. And but you know, again, and he said that point. I just said pretty nicked it really. The fact that, you know, a lot of the players and stuff, very close links with England, they can understand the situation that England's dealing with. So that's a fact of it as well. But I just thought that was a strange situation. That one.
That was mental. Time. That was a mental one, and I remember that actually. And you see it in the McCarthy Park, like where they're watching the funeral in the hotel.
Yeah, that was it, wasn't it? The players,
Graham Farrell. The clown from we won't mention it. The 3 letters begins with S. Type red top. Bowlesby Derry and the Brandywell happened as well. But then what about the Shite McLean guards? Works both ways. I shared lots of jokes on Facebook Thursday night because they were funny. You know, that's your thing, Graham, I suppose. For me personally, look, I live in England. I've lived in England for the last 11 years. And yeah, you know, I'm just like, I just kind of go with the flow a bit with it. You know, I found it is history, and I found the whole thing, wow, this is history. And it's interesting to see. It's weird. You know, and it's amazing, isn't it? Everyone speaks about the Queen of England. You know, you never talk about the Queen of Denmark or Sweden or Belgium. It's the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth. And now we've got, I was going to say now we have a king. Oh Jesus! Now there's a king in the UK. Oh God! But it's.
But like you, I agree completely. It's history, and we're actually living in the middle of it over here in London because it is batshit crazy over here. Like it's 24/7 news, not on the news channels. Everything's there, and
every
even
movement.
regular TV channel is going. Oh, we'll bring that delayed now. The TV schedules are all over the place now. I know you can kind of get away from that if you want. I'm sure some people have no interest in it, but it is historic, unprecedented events in this country. So I'm actually watching quite a bit of it when I can, or catching up with it, and I think it's quite fascinating because I think as well how I also think of 100 years, like even knowing kind of the Lion in State and the state funeral, and where people are kind of filing past the coffin, giving their respects and stuff. I actually think, like, I follow obviously very interesting Irish history. Even looking back at like Michael Collins, I was kind of comparing it to how many people file past Michael Collins' coffin when 100 years ago, and that's just gone. So it's very interesting because in our time we haven't had that over here in a way. All right, we had the Queen Mother's one, but we didn't have. Just to reassure some of the listeners, this is an Irish football podcast.
Fuck yeah.
But it's history, and I think why it's important is because obviously I think we're going to come on and discuss like the expected reaction of the kind of public and different sports and stuff to this.
I'll have a look. Let's have a look here. And there's a question from Declan, actually, and we will get to that, Declan. But we're going to talk about, so we remind ourselves we are actually an Irish football podcast and not a tribute to to Martin's Queen over there. So James McLean obviously came out in a reaction to a tweet from Miguel Delaney, which we don't actually have because he deleted it. But anyway, unless you're a nationalist that was born and raised in Derry or anywhere else in the north of Ireland, then don't assume or speak on our behalf unless you can relate, i.e. Miguel Delaney, who writes for the London Times. And Miguel sort of responded to, it's not the original tweet, because while I support him not wearing a poppy, why wouldn't he wear an armband? Even if you are a Republican, in brackets, small or anti-monarchist sense, it's still just a prominent figure who had died. So I think the whole thing of this, Martin, wasn't it that Miguel thought, well, maybe James should wear an armband, because I'd imagine that some of the games will go ahead this weekend. They didn't go ahead last weekend.
The games that are going ahead over here in England are going to be, they didn't do it last week. Now, interesting as well, there was one of the things was, they didn't do it because they didn't know what the crowd reaction would be, and they kind of tried to blame Shamrock Rovers' reaction, which is rubbish. That's absolute bullshit. But the whole thing now is that they're going to plan this wonderful weekend of tributes, even at grassroots level, coaching kids' football teams. We've got to, we're not doing the anthem, thankfully, but you're supposed to kind of do minute silence and stuff.
See Martin fucking belting out, God save the king.
but yeah, so this is the whole kind of thing of it now, and you will have some amazing tributes this weekend. You'll have fans though crying, looking to get on camera on the TV at these matches. Probably not all of them are. Well, Liverpool is a cancelled game because they can't police so many things with
in London, isn't it?
The events. It was going to be in London, yeah. And even Man United's off as well against Leeds because they can't police it. So they're going to do this wonderful tributes. They're going to do like national anthem, minute silence, and the black armbands. And that's the point of Miguel Delaney saying, understands the thing of James McLean that he doesn't wear the poppy. And let's just remember that a number of other footballers don't wear the poppy.
Mitrovic, not Mitrovic, Matic.
Matic, yeah, doesn't either. Now, so and he's just making a point. Well, I wonder is he going to see it the same way, and is he going to wear the black armband? And James McLean has obviously given his stance very clearly in that response. I would take that to mean, no way am I wearing it. He'll probably stand there. Probably try and make it a little bit about him as well, because I think that is just inflaming stuff here. He doesn't need to do it, to be honest. Although Miguel Delaney, I think, brought it up, so he is responding.
I think it was a silly thing for Miguel to bring up. Personally, if I was the Wigan manager, I'd be like, James, you're injured, aren't you? A bit of a tight hamstring. We'll just leave it off there.
I would say you have the right to decide what you want to do. Now, James McLean doesn't wear the poppy. He gets grief every year in November for that.
I know, but
He's summarised it before, but like he doesn't have to. I think he should just not wear it if he doesn't want to wear it and not be condemned for not wearing it. It's up to him. But just be respectful. I think he should stand there and just be respectful. He doesn't have to make a point of things.
Declan Finnegan has said here, it's very showing respect. I'll be going to Millwall on Wednesday to see QPR. I'll observe the minute silence, but I won't sing God Save the King, which I think is absolutely fair enough. I mean, the thing is, though, with McLean, okay, he has put himself in this situation. This was always going to be on the cards because, the Queen's 96 and she was always going to die pretty much when he's playing, when he's still playing. Now, he won't wear the poppy, fair enough, and I totally support his decision not to wear the poppy.
Yeah.
However, it's obviously gone a little bit tits up, hasn't it? And now it's a case of if he doesn't wear the armband, he's disrespectful, whatever. When it's actually just being consistent in what he's doing, and he does wear, it's like, James, you've turned your back. He can't win no matter what he does.
Yeah, he's made it a story that, or Miguel Delaney, he has made a story even commenting. It should have just been this weekend. No one even asking. I think James McLean loves some of this stuff. I think it kind of gives him.
I think it was reckless from Miguel.
Yeah, it was, but I do think James McLean does like this kind of reputation and this kind of,
he loves it.
Wind up kind of stuff. And he does get incredible abuse. And the FA, he's 100% right. The FA don't do enough to protect him and other Irish players who get abused.
No, of course not.
Without a doubt, they don't. But I think he does sometimes like the fact that he's kind of hated and stuff. It kind of stirs him up and gets him going. Yeah. But again, I think he, anyone with a similar kind of viewpoint and doesn't want to wear it, I think they would just be very quiet. And then if someone said, they would just give the kind of the verbal response of, look, I respect the fact that the country where she was the Queen is respecting the fact she's passed away. That's fine. But I have my own views and beliefs with regard to the royal family. And I'm just going to stay silent. And then I'm here to play football and I'm a professional footballer. That's it.
Well, Graham
doesn't make it a story.
Graham Farrell here has agreed with myself, says, yeah, you're right, Dave. Good man, Graham. Actually, don't even need to read out the rest of his point. That's enough. I wouldn't wear an armband or a poppy. Miguel Delaney has blown his way to proportion and has Gordon McLean. He has Gordon McLean. It was something that a responsible journalist, you shouldn't ask because you know what's going to happen. You're going to cause yourself a massive thing, and maybe Miguel wants to make himself a bit more relevant because he likes to poke the bear a little bit, and he likes to kind of go against the grain. So I think you got similar bedfellows there, albeit McLean is a lot more militant. That's actually probably a poor choice of words considering that post with the balaclava. But it's just a silly thing. If I was the manager, I just would have said, look, I'm going to do you a favor, James. You're injured. And we'll just see to say, I'm going to do you a favor, your family a favor. I'm going to do us a favor and the fans a favor. And just don't travel, even though you're one of my best players. That's what I would have done anyway. I was asked that actually, and I thought by a mate, he goes, what do you think? And I actually said, I reckon he'll be injured for that.
It is actually quite unnerving listening to you and watching you on this video because obviously over your shoulder is James McLean and he just looks quite intimidating. The other side. He does look intimidating in that does, one. Next to me, actually. Next to me.
Yeah. It's got Martin on his cheek there. But anyway, we're going to wrap up the... we're going to wrap this up actually very soon because I need to go to bed. Whoops. Here's the last bit of social media watch. Paul McGrath had a... I think you know what I'm going to post here, Martin. Paul McGrath had a Q&A session. And, of course, he was asked, what player reminds you, or what player style reminds you most of yours back in the day? What current player style reminds you of yours back in the day? And his answer was Harry Maguire.
Jesus Christ, didn't rate himself very... He's so modest, isn't he?
He's so modest. He's so modest. I mean, would you... I'm sorry, but Paul McGrath could pass. He could shoot. He was skillful. He could do it all. He actually did play in every position for St. Pat's and bombed in every one of them, bar defence. Well, because they were going to get rid of him, weren't they? At Pat's and put him in defence. but he could do it all. Look at the goal he got against Holland, which which is wrongfully disallowed. Harry Maguire, if he tried out, he'd have a stroke. Oh dear, Graham Farrell was on the beard during that Q&A. To be fair, Graham, it's probably me. I don't know where. Maybe he's just trying to do. He probably feels a bit bad for Harry Maguire. I don't know, but Jesus Christ. Anyway, that's going to wrap up another episode. Sorry we haven't been around for the last while, but we have a very, 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 very busy international schedule. We're going to have loads of podcasts, loads of episodes of stuff coming out. We're going to be live from Hampden Park. I'm going to be live from Hampden Park because the two other slackers over there will be enjoying the match. And I'll be working as a journalist because I am a journalist, not my Mark. And from Dublin as well. So we're going to have all these live shows coming up. And thank Christ, actually, if you're living in London, the rail strike has been cancelled. I think they haven't sorted out any pay because, it's UK in 2022. But I think it's in respect to the Queen. Mick Lynch is his name, isn't it?
Yep.
Risk London member.
Yeah.
Causing havoc. He is actually a Risk London member.
He is a Risk London member, yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if he'd be actually up in Scotland or Dublin. Be interesting.
He is in Scotland. He will be.
Might have to say hello.
Okay.
Have you let something out of the bag, have you? Or...
No. Just GDPR and all that, and letting people know people's whereabouts.
Yeah, watching.
Yeah. But you're like you were saying, we're all looking forward to going up to Glasgow, aren't we? So.
But if you are living in London like myself and Martin, and you're relying on the trains, the train strike was going to affect your trip. My trip to Gatwick Airport, the rail strike is off, but the trains are shit anyway, so it might still affect it. But the train strike is off. And I can't wait for Scotland. Hopefully EasyJet don't cancel my fucking flight because then I'll be screwed. It's all This is really UK 2022, isn't it? 21st century UK. Like, are the trains running? Well, they won't they? Will EasyJet, will they cancel my flight? Won't they? But either way, it's going to be great crack. Anyway, we're just going to mention again our partners. If I can just find a little thing there, very professional. Where are we?
Dave, we haven't got all night.
I know.
Right? Oh, no, those partners.
No, she's Friday. kitlaunchcork.com. That is kitlaunchcork.com if you want to get some lovely vintage, not retro, vintage football stuff. And promo code if you want 20% off is Green Machine 20, all caps, Green Machine 20. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on this late hour. There will be an audio version of this podcast first thing tomorrow morning when Nick gets up to drive his mot to the airport. That's why he's not on here. Oh, GDPR, sorry.
Nick's got a pass for the next few days. Just before we do finish, I'll be at the Claddering on Friday in Northwest London, Risk London meeting. Anyone based in the kind of London area or outer regions, more than welcome to come along, see about the club. We've also got a World Cup dinner planned on the 14th of October. Got to plug that in there as well. So do check out the website, www.risk.org. But lots of exciting content, as we said on our podcast here, haven't we, David? So
Thank you. Enough of the risk plug. This is a Green Machine podcast. greenmachinepodcast.com. You can get all our audio episodes. You can get the World Cup 2002 special. Nick's Love Child. You get loads of episodes. All of our live episodes are on there. And I can't go to the risk thing because they changed it. Because Martin doesn't want me upstage. Basically, that's what it really is all about. And anyway, so guys, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us. Please give us a cheeky little follow over on the Green Machine podcast page. That's Facebook.com/the GM podcast. And if you want to feel generous, give us a shout over on lansdowneroad.ie. Actually, do you know what I meant to mention before we go? Speaking of Nick, did you see that what Pundit Rena did? They stole Nick's story, didn't they? Because they're going on with the under-21s. And he said that Aaron Connolly is still eligible to play for the under-21s. And he stole it and wouldn't give him credit.
Yeah, it was very poor, that. I mean, look, we all talk about different things, different ideas and stuff like that. But, it's nice to be credited. That was a bit of a strange one.
That's really shit. Oh, but I bet you won't be plugging the used to write for Pundit Rena anymore, eh?
Don't be upsetting Nick now.
Oh, he's asleep. I'll upset him in the morning. Anyway, Martin, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you
you
at home for joining us too. Have a good night. Have a great day, and enjoy the Queen's celebration of the Queen's. No, I won't. I won't do it.
History.
Good night.